You are listening to post-game content on YouTube.com.
The only show that has content post game.
I guess it's not post, but post-game content, mid-game coronavirus.
We're in the mid game now.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Kevin. And we talk about video games. Woo!
But first, let's talk about some video game news. Oh.
Whoa! A natural segue? What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so quite a number of things have happened this past week. So,
Why don't we do the baby stuff first? I got some baby stuff for you.
all right, sounds good.
All right. So baby news. All the real gamers, get out for a second. Let your kids watch or listen. Don't let them watch. I guess that'd be kind of pointless. But anyway,
And then immediately move them away because we swear sometimes.
yeah. Or don't. I mean, they're gonna learn eventually. uh, so this I was saying baby news because I don't really think this has like a huge impact on like gaming, or and it's barely, and it's the content of the news is barely a video game, but it's related to Club Penguin, and
Nice.
and
Nice.
there's a lot of like drama recently, and by recently I mean like in the last couple weeks about ever since Club Penguin shut down, there's been like things to fill the void. There's like these private servers that kind of use the files from the original game to sort of provide like a similar platform. And some of these had like different goals. Like there's Club Penguin Rewritten, which completely wants to like stay true to like early Club Penguin. Like they sort of pride themselves on still being that kid-friendly, like mid 2000s inspired, mid 2010s inspired, I guess, Club Penguin.
Yeah, with like the flash animation and stuff like
Right,
that.
yeah. But then there's Club Penguin Online, which was like completely self-aware that like Club Penguin was like a nostalgia trip for people, so it was geared towards adults. So like there was no language filter, and like both of these platforms have free membership. And anyway, just slightly different slight different variations and stuff. But the latter of the two that I mentioned, Club Penguin Online, as it's called, had like recently someone came out and did this whole expose about how the guy that runs it is like a pedophile or whatever, and
Oh my
that's not,
god.
yeah, that's not cool. And he was and it was like it was like this really dark twisted rabbit hole about how like he would like joke about having power over like his Club Penguin empire, um because he owned the server, and this other guy actually coded everything for him. He just paid him with like all this ad revenue that he was getting from
Right.
his like ad infested site. But like he kind of went crazy, and like he would hire people to hack people who sort of threatened his like totally fabricated power. Like this
Jeez.
so like people would make like other private servers for Club Penguin, with a different sort of goal in mind, and he'd be like, nah, and he would like hire them to like dox these people, and like it's not really uncool stuff on top of just being a pedophile. So uh and as you'd imagine, like being the owner of a Club Penguin server is a really dangerous position for a pedophile to be in. I mean, I just that like scares me, like that's so. Anyway, the news though, that's sort of
That
this
was
this is
baby news? That sounds really
no,
interesting.
that wasn't the baby news. That
Oh,
was sort of
okay.
like the prelude to the baby news. The baby news is that Club Penguin Online got shut down. Um, and this was sort of a big deal because now like it wasn't shut down on the grounds of the dude being a pedophile. It was shut down on the grounds of Disney owning copyright claim on all of the things that were used to make this website.
Right.
Kind of insane how Disney wasn't able to do anything about this before, but everyone was so upset about the guy who owned that server. They just sort of brought this server in particular to Disney's attention, and Disney took action. So it wasn't really because of the terrible things that he was doing, but it was just because he was using assets that he didn't own.
Right.
Um, and this is kind of like bad news because the more like kid friendly, like wholesome, pure hearted servers like rewritten, the one that I mentioned earlier, um, they're at risk of being shut down too, because now that like Disney knows about these sort of private servers, it's sort of like what happens next. That I don't know. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't really become invested in this until I watched that like expose video. Really interesting. Um, if you just search like Club Penguin Online on YouTube, you'll find it eventually. You'll find so many different things, but you'll find the video I'm talking about in particular. It had some weird title. I don't remember it. But yeah, no, that was like one small thing. And I'm going to save the other small thing actually uh, for after we talk about some bigger things. So
Okay.
uh,
Well, that was a pretty wild story. I might look into that myself after we're
I
done.
encourage you to. It like it was a rabbit hole for sure. I did some searching for that, but
Yeah. So as far as big stuff, we sort of got to see some footage of two new games. I'm going to start with the one that I'm more interested, and then there's another one that I know we're both interested in. So we got to see more of what Ghost of Tsushima looks like, which is Sucker Punch's new game.
wait, did you just say ghost?
Ghost, yeah.
Ah, oh, sorry.
Ghost
Skip.
game content.
Do 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 do. Pumpkin Hill.
um,
That was the Sonic reference for the episode, by the way.
good,
For
good
anyone
job,
who's
Kev. We
keeping
got it.
score.
We got it out of the way early.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to see more of what Ghost of Tsushima looks like, which is a game I've been interested in, but I didn't really know much about. It's like, oh, it's Sucker Punch. I really enjoy Sly Cooper. I really enjoy Infamous. Um, I enjoy most of their output. So I'm like, all right, well, regardless of what it is, I'll pick it up. And I mean, in a way, what this game kind of looks like, it's like they're definitely trying for a Breath of the Wild style open world pseudo or action pseudo RPG type thing. Um, and I feel like Sucker Punch is a lot like Naughty Dog in that they make games that don't necessarily break any new ground, but are just really good at what they do.
Yeah.
Um, and Ghost of Tsushima definitely seems like that. Although, so Ghost of Tsushima, there's a lot of emphasis placed on you can either uh, you want to build your character both as a stealthy kind of character and as a samurai. And the samurai combat that they showed off in this state of play presentation looks pretty interesting. I don't know. I definitely have to, actually play it for myself to tell if I'm going to like it or not. But it seems
Yeah.
very
I'm personally more of a ninja kind of person, but like I guess this could be interesting.
a soup ninja, you might say.
I gotta go.
um, yeah, so it looks interesting. This game looks beautiful. I mean, they showed off the photo mode, which, like, every game has a photo mode nowadays. But I don't
Right.
know, like, just this in particular and the effects that they showed off. They said that they were inspired a lot by samurai movies, and that's definitely a clear influence that you can see in Ghost of Tsushima. It's
Yeah.
definitely interesting. Probably not a game that is going to be for everyone, but I'm happy to know what this game finally plays like, and I'm definitely going to pick it up.
Yeah. I'm always like a sucker for like jokes aside, I am a sucker for like that sort of like samurai aesthetic, I guess. Like
Hmm.
there's definitely a better term for it. Like, but I don't want to pigeonhole it. I don't want to say like, oh, feudal Japan, because there are things that still have like the samurai vibe without being like uh, explicitly Japanese. Like I think a lot of Star Wars content has like the Western
Yeah, for sure.
slash samurai influence because that what the movies were based off of.
Hmm.
Uh, anyway, but yeah, I'm super into those kinds of things. Like I remember, actually the game I planned on talking about later had something to do with that. But yeah, no, they're just interesting. They're just always really interesting, either visually or like narratively, I think.
Definitely.
Hmm. What else was that it? Do we go to the big PM now?
If you want to, we definitely can.
All right, I think it's time we address the big PM.
All right.
Um, like Paper Mario Origami King got like silently announced. That was really weird. Like I don't even remember where like that's can that be the where were you moment of our generation? Like when Origami King was announced. Like I actually don't know where I was. I think I was at work. I
I
think I was at work and I heard my phone go off and I was like, oh. And like I got home and I looked at it and I was like, that's weird.
I I remember I woke up, and after I wake up, I always sort of check Twitter, scroll through Twitter, and I see everyone freaking out about Origami King, and I look at the trailer, and I'm like, oh, okay then.
Yeah. Um so I we sort of like I think our brief text conversation that we had was like just as like jarring and weird as the trailer itself because we were both sort of like, yeah, this looks like something. Like we both just sort of didn't know what to say. We were just sort of
Hmm.
like, yeah, this happened. And I think it's just I don't know. I think it's too early. Like Game Explain really likes to analyze things to death like immediately, and that's their thing, and they're good at it. But like I personally just feel like it's a little too early to say much about it. Like I, I'm hopeful. Like I'll admit at first I saw it and I was just like, this just kind of looks like another Color Splash. And don't get me wrong, I liked Color Splash, but not as much as I liked other Paper Mario games. If you catch my drift.
Right.
RPGs.
Yeah,
uh, sorry, had a
you
coughing
gotta
fit,
you
but
gotta clear your throat there.
yeah, sorry. No, but I think after I like set on it, like just sort of like uh mold it over, just sort of like I really did some hard thinking, and I kind of realized, this could be good. Color Splash was a step in the right direction. I I understand why they don't want to do like the RPG sort of like battle system. I get that. I get that like they sort of want to like give the Mario RPG series and the Paper Mario series like more of an identity. But ironically, I feel like in doing that, they've like stripped the identities away more. Like I feel
Yes.
like Paper Mario became more generic because of it, and I think I don't know. Like I don't hate Dream Team, but like Dream Team isn't as good. Like I'm just like this isn't even like a matter of opinion. Just Dream Team isn't as good as other Mario and Luigi games.
Hmm.
It's not bad, and I'm totally joking. That is my opinion, but um, but
um,
I personally didn't like Dream Team was the only one of the Mario and Luigi games that I didn't complete like not I don't want to say in one playthrough because that's not what I mean at all, but I mean like I started Dream Team and I was about like I don't know, a little over halfway out. I'll say 75% of the way through, and I started playing a different game like consistently. Like I stopped trying to beat Dream Team, if that
yeah.
makes sense. Um, and I just, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, so I didn't play Color Splash for the record.
Okay.
Sticker Star burned me pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Um, I think it's easily one of the worst Nintendo games that have ever been made. Um, and not to say that Sticker Star is like outright terrible, but just so many parts of it are feel unfinished or just disappointing. And so I had heard decent things about Color Splash. People love the writing in that game, which is, I mean, that's always been a strength of the Paper Mario series.
Yeah, the writing and the visuals were good, but that being said, the visuals were like they were pretty to look at, but they were still sort of generic. Like there was still like
Yes.
desert, grass, water, all that thing, or all those things. But I will give them credit. They did make them interesting to look at. Like I remember the one level where you go and it's like it's a desert, but like there's the train and you have to
Hmm.
like yeah, I don't know. It just little things like that. Like it was it was really it wanted to be really creative, but it felt like someone was like nah. Like it felt like someone was telling it to like reel it in a little. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like the Sonic Mania effect, where like all the original levels in Sonic Mania are really good, and then like Sega was like, but you should really put Green Hill Zone in there, and
Man, we
and
haven't had Chemical Plant in a little while. Let's put Chemical Plant.
yeah, and like don't get me wrong, those levels were cool in that game, but like uh, the development team was clearly like more ambitious than that, and Sega, told them to do that basically, just like
for for sure.
Sorry for doing this Sonic tangent. I forgot that we'd already gotten the reference in. Uh, I
um,
otherwise would not have done that.
I mean, there are well, first off, I think this trailer actually opens really interestingly, just kind of what we're getting from the sense of the plot as it is right now, where there's like
Yeah,
a
I thought that
an
was cool.
origami cult type thing. I thought
Yeah,
that
I
was
like
really
that.
fun.
And so that's what I was gonna say next. I know that like, when we first talked about this, we didn't really at least I mean I know we sort of seemed like we were on the same page. Like we both sort of agreed that this didn't look that interesting. But now that I've really let it sit with me, I am a little more excited for it. Um, because the way I see it now is like the way I see it now is like we're probably not gonna get Paper Mario like RPG style games again. So I could at least sort of be open minded with like this new creative like battle system, the roulette wheel looking thing. It looks interesting. I am sort of bummed that like we still aren't getting very creative characters. Like Bob-omb from the trailer. Like
Yeah,
he's just like
yeah.
me. Well, I'm Bob-omb. It's like yeah, no, like, like
I
what
mean,
if Toad
yes.
was sitting there and was just like, yeah, I'm Toad. Like yeah, we know you're Toad. You're all Toad. I saw. Okay, so that one tweet where this meme's been going around and it bothers me. It's the one meme where it's like Thousand Year Door and it shows all like the creative Thousand Year Door characters, and then
Hmm.
it's like Color Splash slash Sticker Star, and it's just like the same Toad over and over again.
Yeah.
And then I saw a response to that meme where it was just like, people keep saying this, but it's actually this, and then it's like, um, and it shows specifically all the Toads from the past games, like the variations of all the Toads from the past games, compared to all the variations of Toad from Sticker Star and Color Splash. Which, okay, sure, Color Splash had some interesting concepts for Toad characters, but why were they all Toads? Why were they limited to Toads? Is my
Yes.
complaint. Anyway, that has been like that rage has been building up inside me ever since I've seen this one Twitter meme. I swear to God, whoever posted that, I'm gonna find you. um,
I mean, basically, so I guess I'm just gonna like rattle off the two things that do kind of concern me about from what we know is like we see very little, I mean very, very little of the battle system. Like
yeah,
it took Game Explain doing a 30-minute analysis for us to figure out
maybe what's
basically what
happening.
it plays like.
Yeah, and I I was gonna touch on that too. Like that is my only like remaining concern. Like I'm hopeful. Like I said, I understand that they're not gonna do like an RPG thing, but I'm hopeful that this will be good. But the fact that we still don't know what it is kind of concerns me. Um,
And then the other part that bothers me is so like look, I mean, if we had a traditional Paper Mario game like the N64 game like Thousand Year Door, I would be over the moon.
yeah,
But I mean, if Nintendo doesn't want to do that, then that's fine, I guess. But I need some variety in the characters. I mean,
right. it
like you were saying, I mean, there's the meme where you know even if you just take the toads out of it, like Bobbery from Thousand Year Door is like such a interesting look. I mean, all the Bomb-Oms really from Thousand Year Door
yeah.
look unique for the most part. All the toads, all the Koopas, etc. Well,
See,
most of the Koopas.
I I okay, there's a lot of like non-existent controversy around Super Paper Mario. Like I see a lot of people online talk about it as if like, oh, okay, here's my hot take. This game was good. Like, no,
Yeah,
everyone
I
likes this
like Super
game.
Paper
Yeah,
Mario.
yeah, like everyone likes this game. I don't know why. Like just because it wasn't like it's they don't need to be RPGs to be good. Super Paper Mario is evident of that, and I
Hmm.
think like, and I think Nintendo really needs to look to that game. Like, I don't know what else to say. If they don't want to do RPG systems, that's okay. Like, just look at Super Paper Mario. It went ham on the writing. Like
Yeah,
the writing in that game is amazing. Um,
it
there's
is easily one. It is, in my opinion, Super Paper Mario has the best Paper Mario story.
well, yeah. Well, I was gonna say not even like just narratively, but like dialogue is in that game is still really good,
Hmm.
and like Francis in that game. Come on,
Such an
and
iconic character.
but even that game that wasn't a RPG Paper Mario game still had uh like companions that weren't just like generic Mario characters,
Hmm.
and they're definitely the flattest, pun intended, uh um Paper Mario partners that we have other than the sticker crown, but um they were still interesting design wise. Like, yeah, they were simplistic, but that's just to make them sort of stylistically coherent. But like they were still interesting. Like I don't know, it struck a balance. There was a balance between being visually consistent and unique.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't know, the bomb Boomer, actually. Oh my god, I just realized that his name is Boomer.
Oh no.
that 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 puts that one line from him where he's talking about checking vibes into a whole other perspective. When you first meet him, he's like, gotta check those vibes. Oh no, Boomer. Anyway, I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna be able to get used to that in time for me to like say this piece in like a reasonable amount of time. um Boomer, like he was a bomb, but they didn't just make him a bomb, Like
Yeah.
he still looked relatively generic. Like I don't think Boomer had a cooler design than Bobbery, but you know, he had a
I mean,
design.
all the pixels were visually distinct from each other and from other things in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I just think Super Paper Mario is like just proof that it can be done, and I think like these over the top like battle systems that Nintendo tries to make, where they're almost. I mean, I wouldn't say Color Splash and Sticker Star were complicated. They were just like annoying. Like I
Well,
don't know.
my
I didn't.
problem with Sticker Star was always that the game de-incentivizes battling, and
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, especially since like you want to collect the stickers in that game. Do you remember that the
yeah.
museum? There was only like two of some like really overpowered sticker, and like uh, anyway, that you can like lock yourself out of 100% completion by fighting, just by
Hmm.
battling, because like if that's your only one left, that's like your only choice basically. I don't know, whatever. Um,
The point is, Sticker Star sucks.
Yeah, the point of the sticker set sucks, and Super Paper Mario is really good, and this Origami King can be really good, but if I'm being 100% truthful with myself, it probably won't, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And I'm not a thousand year door crybaby about it, because I confess that Super Paper Mario is a really good game, so it doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be thousand year door, but it just needs to be good.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's I almost forgot the other thing that I wanted to mention, but like we've gone on for so long, so I'm gonna try and make it quick. But what since this Paper Mario prediction was true, I don't know if you remember that some like dude was like, "Hey, Paper Mario's gonna happen," and he said that in that voice. He typed it in that voice actually. Um,
with oh God, what's the guy in Ratchet and Clank who like you only see his eyes?
Oh, Slim Cognito. Well,
Yes,
he
Slim
yeah,
Cognito.
Slim Cognito. He's so cool. Hey, Ratchet. It's like Slim Cognito. What are you doing here in prison? And then like it's Secret Agent Clank where Ratchet is in prison. And it's like, what do you mean? What is he doing here? Of course, Slim Cognito's in prison. Like, anyway. Uh,
Not to go
uh,
off on a Ratchet and Clank tangent.
I love Ratchet and Clank. We should do a whole episode about Ratchet and Clank someday. Anyway, um, yeah. Since that prediction about Paper Mario is true, what do you think about the same person's predictions about the 3D Mario games? And like, there was some news about that. Like, there was an article saying that these are likely, like, the 3D Mario games are likely coming to Switch.
Frankly, so the all right. So I have two thoughts about this.
Okay.
Frankly, I'm surprised that we haven't had a Switch port of 3D World yet.
Hmm.
Um, I could see Sunshine. The Galaxy games, I'm a little bit. I feel like that's a bit weirder because obviously those games really employ the motion controls. And
Yeah.
like the Switch does have motion controls, but I mean,
Mhm.
there's not really like a pointer or like it's a very limited pointer on
It
the
is.
Switch.
It's infrared, so you'd have to hold the right Joy-Con upside down to use it. So,
Yeah. I I
um,
I, I mean unless they I feel like the Galaxy games would require like major retooling.
they would, and that's what I was gonna say. I think I could see Mario 64 and Sunshine making the jump over. I could see 3D World easily. Um, but like Odyssey has motion controls, but not in the same way
I mean extremely
Galaxy does.
limited, you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like even using the Pro controller, you could just sort of like jolt your wrist to get the same actions. That's how
Hmm.
limited they are. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful. I really like Sunshine. I know Sunshine is kind of like a weird game for some people. Like I guess a lot of people don't like Sunshine, but I love Sunshine. I grew up with that game. I could I'd enjoy it. I would buy it for sure if it came to Switch.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know
I
why I
would buy
would. I
any.
have it on GameCube still. It's over here. In fact, I'm gonna walk over to this drawer and I'm gonna open the drawer and you're gonna hear me tap the case. Oh, Epic Mickey. Oh, never mind. It's Epic Mickey 2.
I throw that piece of trash out.
Right, here it is. It's in there. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. It's right next to Metroid Prime and Luigi's Mansion and Kirby Air Ride.
um, so should we? I think that was a good bit of news.
Yeah, that's the most we've had in a while.
Possibly ever, in fact.
Yeah.
Um, so you want to talk about the games that we've been playing?
Yeah. Why don't you go? I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Okay. Yeah. So well, I have speak. Let's see. Speaking of games like Super Paper Mario that are um, sort of started out being considered bad, but are sort of coming around. I feel like I've been playing a lot of Bioshock 2 lately. So anyone who
Big
knows
Daddy Simulator.
Big Daddy Simulator, gross.
Ugh, it sounded even worse when you said it.
um, yeah. So I anyone who knows me knows that I have played Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite umpteenth times. I
I
mean,
just sorry to interrupt. I just like slammed my head. Oh God, no, my hand against my desk trying to get up.
I hate Bioshock 2.
Ah,
Slam.
no, no, I was reaching for my water, but I couldn't reach it. Anyway, anyway, I'm sorry. I just
It's
wanted to explain
water,
the slam.
Rapture is underwater.
Rapture's underwater. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Bioshock 2, and I sort of forget how many things this game streamlines from Bioshock 1, actually. Um, I think, I mean, it. everything with one extremely glaring exception, it just feels faster. It feels slightly more customizable. I think getting rid of the tonic categories so that you just have like a whole thing of tonics that you can choose from is really great because it allows you to like sort of min max in a sense. I think the drill is such a fun weapon to use that they made a melee weapon in a first person shooter not only worth a damn but like really fun to use.
Yeah.
I mean, the drill dash is just such a fun way of getting around and like
I
evading enemies and stuff like that.
BioShock 2, and I last time I have played a bit of BioShock 2 since last time we talked about BioShock 2. Because I remember last time I was like, I've never really played it. I've seen it, kind of thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I played a little bit of it. It it is definitely, if Drill Dozer for the Game Boy Advance was rated M,
Yeah,
and and I love that. And I
it's
love that
great.
so much.
I think uh, so. Well, I guess I'll just finish with the positives. I think the story is really underrated in Bioshock 2. Bioshock 1 was all sort of built around spoiler warning for a almost 11-year-old game, I think, but it's sort of all built around the fact that you know, Atlas is Frank Fontaine. Like that's,
What?
I know. That's the major twist. This is all Bioshock One is built around, and it's a terrific twist. And that game, I probably still has the edge when it comes to story and philosophical concepts and things like that.
Did I ever tell you that like I accidentally figured that out. Like, and like I was like really confused when people were talking about the big reveal. I was like, what? And it wasn't that I got it spoiled for me, and it wasn't that I was like smart enough where I figured like I managed to piece anything together. I
Hmm.
just I just legitimately was like I like forgot that it was I don't know. I don't know how this happened, but I think it was because there was this huge gap between when I started it and when I finally beat it. I was like, these characters are the same, right? Like like in my head I was trying to sort the story and I was trying to piece it together and I just sort of accidentally was like, yeah, that would make sense, I think. And and then
Andrew
and then
Ryan
with it,
hates this Atlas guy, and he also hates this Frank Fontaine guy.
yeah, yeah. And so, I don't know. I just had to accidentally like pieced it together by no like smart deduction. It was just dumb luck and then I just happened to be right, I guess. And it was kind of funny. But
That's
anyway,
pretty
I
hilarious.
yeah, I
Yeah,
like
but
accidentally ruined the game. Not ruined, but like anyway.
I think Bioshock 2, with its sort of emphasis on, we've got a more scaled down story. It's sort of the motifs that it plays with um, uh, like family relationships, fatherhood, motherhood. I feel like Delta is almost a slightly more interesting protagonist than Jack is because we know a little bit more about who Delta was before he got Big Daddy defied. Um, whereas Jack is just kind of, again, it's all built around that twist. And I mean, I just think it's very sort of underrated, but I do feel like more people are appreciating it nowadays. The only thing that I think this game sort of is poor about is the way they changed how Little Sisters work, where you have to do these essentially tower defense mini games to get the atom. But even then, it's not terrible because the game gives you a lot more uses for your more tactical special ammo, like the trap rivets and the proximity mines, the remote hack tools, mini turrets, and I think, I mean, this is the third time I'm playing through it. But now finally, like all the story beats are clicking for me. I am appreciating the parts that are smoothed over. And like, it's not on the same caliber of story as Bioshock 1 or Bioshock Infinite, but it's still an enjoyable tale, and fun gameplay. So it's definitely worth going back to if you haven't played it in a while. Okay, so Kevin's mic died, I think. So I guess I'll just briefly talk about the other game that I've been playing. We'll see what happens. I'll try and make that
No,
last.
sorry.
Okay, thank God he
uh,
came back before I went into the other game I was talking
okay.
about.
I'm really sorry. All of a sudden, like there were a million people in my room.
It's all good.
It's okay because it's in theme. They were picking out a board game for gamer night. So I saw them take Clue and some other game. I don't
Nice.
remember, but anyway. Um,
We should review board games.
yeah, I actually do think that'd be fun. If sometime if we ever make our way back to Boston
Yeah,
before our
absolutely.
inevitable demise, but I think that'd be fun. Um, and then we could call it board game content, and no one would listen to it with a name like that. um,
What have you been
so
playing, Kevin?
okay, let's see. I was kind of playing two games, and I don't know which one I want to talk about. So I'm gonna leave it up to you. I'm gonna see if you'd heard of. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna butcher the titles. I'm gonna like make up an alternative title, and I want you to pick which one sounds more interesting.
All right.
Um, there's Blades of the Shotgun and and Mark the Ninja.
Mark of the Ninja is like a real game, though, right?
Yeah, no, that's the game I was talking about.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's called Mark of the Ninja.
I'm gonna go with Blades of the Shotgun
Okay,
because that sounds metal as hell.
okay, so it's actually called Blades of the Shogun, and it's sort of like a isometric stealth game where there's like a mechanic where you can control basically like multiple characters at the same time. You can like if you are able to split your brain in five directions, you can basically order all five characters to move at the same time, and it will all just happen. And it's really satisfying when you can get it, but it's really frustrating when you can't. um, so just really briefly, the plot, which sort of takes a like a backseat, you know, role in this kind of game. Like it really is more about like the stealth gameplay and that sort of thing. Um, the plot is basically there's this there's this dude in power and he's a cool guy, but this other dude who is also in power somewhere else is like, nah, we're gonna overthrow the emperor, and the emperor's like, what the heck, dude? And the first mission starts with you playing as a ninja. I forget the main character's name actually, which is probably bad when I'm talking about it, but it's I think it's because
Mr. Blades of the Shogunman.
yeah, well I always like internally refer to him as the messenger because he's a blue ninja. So, like just and I like the messenger a lot. So, um anyway, we'll call him the messenger. The messenger basically is trying to break into this castle and uh kill a dude. He's just trying to kill a dude. It's like a political assassination actually. Um no, not really. I'm actually butchering like the story completely. But the first mission is he breaks into this castle, and right as he's about to break into this castle and perform this like super duper stealth operation, um, like the the emperor, who's the good guy in this game, is trying to. Actually, I think he's just the shogun. I don't. I'm like I said, the plot is so backseat to the rest of this game that I honestly can't remember. But basically, the good guys started invading the castle at the same time the other good guy was trying to like sneak around in it. And um, he basically has to like abort his mission so he can save the samurai that's about to get gunned down because he just charged head first into this like huge gate that was just heavily guarded. Like it was just not a smart idea. It was, and which
It's
is
like
really
the
weird because
part.
I
It's like the
yeah
part in movies where the guy's like, go save yourself, But it sounds like there's like no reason for him to do that. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yes. Yeah. No, it was basically one of those moments. But this samurai is cornered, and it's really weird because that's probably the dumbest thing you ever see him do in the game, because he's otherwise portrayed to be really smart and like sensible. Like he's supposed to be this high ranking general. Like I don't know why we're introduced to him in such a way, but he's he's in a situation. The ninja character gets him out. They become friends, and they sort of like knock on each other all the time about like one being like a coward and the other being an idiot. And the samurai thinks the ninja's a coward. The uh, ninja thinks the samurai's an idiot. Whatever. But they become close friends. Also in this mission, there's the old dude who's a sniper, and he saves both of their asses because they get caught again. And this like old man, this like crackpot sniper just like starts shooting from a tower, and he's got like this old coot voice, you know. So, but he almost immediately dies because the tower that he's standing on blows up and he falls. And there's like, there's no way that like 70 something year old sniper man just survived that huge drop. And you just sort of go about the rest of the game, and until you sort of meet other characters. You meet like this young girl who ends up becoming the ninja's apprentice, and she plays similarly. She sort of she can like set traps, and she can do like a bird whistle to distract guards. So you can like lure them into the traps, and just other things like that. Like so that's sort of her thing, is like, trapping and evasion. The ninja's sort of thing is like he's super mobile and can do. He has like a grappling hook to get to high places, and he can do some cool like stealth takedowns. He's got some cool throwables. He's just like a good all around character, for the kind of game that it is. And then there's the samurai, who is good close range, not super sneaky, but he can take down two guys at once, which is cool. With his like Beyblade sword. Like seriously, he just takes out two katanas and spins around and kills anyone in that radius.
let
And
it rip.
yeah, it's actually really cool. There's this one mechanic in the game where, so as with any sort of stealth game of this genre, Mark the Ninja has the same sort of mechanic where there's different enemy types that you have to defeat in certain ways. This game has like samurai, like enemy samurai that can't be killed by the stealth guys because they have like big armor. So they sort
Mm.
of pose interesting threats where you have to be creative. Like, how are you going to get around this person? You can distract them by throwing rocks at them, or using the bird song thing that I mentioned earlier. Um, but the friendly samurai on your team can have, like, there's a mechanic where they could just have a duel. Like they can just like
Oh, nice.
yeah. So, and because the good samurai, is sort of supposed to be this high ranking general. Under normal circumstances, he will always win a duel, but there are certain circumstances where he can't, and that sort of forces you to think creatively about when you're going to 1v1 these people. Um, so the game is really all about like manipulating the AI into just sort of doing what you want, and that sort of gameplay is like super satisfying to me. I don't know, it's fun. Um,
There are a few things more satisfying as like you're playing a stealth game and just every part of your plan like goes off just
oh
so
yeah,
well.
yeah, no, I love that. The missions are pretty enjoyable, like in terms of replayability. But there are a couple characters I forgot to mention, like the girl who can disguise herself, and the aforementioned old man who comes back with a peg leg. Uh,
Hell yeah.
um, and that's not a spoiler because he's on the loading, like the title loading screen with the peg leg, like you see him. Like, um, what's really cool about him is that when he comes back, his peg leg is his gun. He like
Oh,
takes
hell
off his
yeah.
peg leg and like sets up and like can snipe people. And for some like, and that was fine. Like, I don't know why they ended up adding more to his character when they brought him back, because when you play as him in the first mission, that brief moment where he's just sniping, he's like just good. Like, honestly, if you just made him like a thing that showed up in random levels to give you like to add more to the puzzle sort of thing, like add
Hmm.
more solutions, he didn't really need to be this full character. But when he shows up again, he also has a he also has a pet raccoon, and he can like and but since he has a peg leg now, he actually makes more sound when he moves, so he actually alerts people nearby. But to counter this, I think they gave him the pet raccoon because the pet raccoon can just like be cute and adorable, and it will like distract people. Like it'll just start like barking to annoy people, and they'll be like, "Oh, shut up!" And I'll go over and try and get it to shut up. Or like it can go up to like civilians and start rolling around in the dirt, and people will be like, "Aw," and like and it's really funny because then you just see this old man come out of the bush and hobble over to the next bush with his like peg
And then
leg.
shoot him with his leg.
Yeah, yeah, it's really fun. And the writing, like I know I said the plot sort of takes a back seat, but the writing is where it's like uh there's sort of an exception to that because the character to character like dialogue is just great. It's so great. It's like it's funny. It can be serious if it's like the I think the girl ninja who isn't the apprentice has like this history with the like the messenger, as we called him earlier. They have like some history, so there's like some drama there. But then there's like some friendly banter between the samurai and the ninja. There's sort of this like father-daughter relationship between the samurai and the ninja apprentice. Um, and then of course there's sort of like the teacher-student relationship between the master and apprentice, of course. But there's also this weird dynamic where the old guy is just sort of like he just sort of gets along with all of them just by being like this crazy weirdo. He sort of like has this like high pitched like creepy laugh that he does all the time. In usually like really morbid situations too. Like he'll be like, ah yes, pop their heads like grapes, he, and it's just like, oh my god, what are you with your weird vicious raccoon baby? Um, but yeah, that's I think that's Blades of the Shogun. It's uh it might it has like a longer title, but I have never bothered to remember it if I'm being honest.
Well,
Uh
sounds pretty
Fun game.
good. Um, I also have a isometric tactical game to talk about real quick.
No, you don't.
You're right, I don't. That's it for the
All
episode.
right,
No,
this
I'm
has been
kidding. I'm
post game
kidding.
content.
um, yeah, so I am a fan of the XCOM series of games, the modern XCOM games. I never played any of the classic XCOM games, but
Are you gonna talk about Chimera?
I am going to talk about Chimera
Dude,
Squad. Yeah.
my friend has been playing that. He thinks it's good. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
step on your game.
yeah. Well, Chimera Squad is really good. I think so. It is a different experience from XCOM 1 and XCOM 2, but I do think it is a really, I prefer it more than classic XCOM, which might be controversial. I know some hardcore XCOM fans are sort of down a little bit on the Chimera Squad, um, but I just think that the ways in which Chimera Squad sort of trims the fat are really beneficial. Like story wise, there's not really a lot to it. It's just like so XCOM 2, all the XCOM games are about fighting aliens. And so XCOM 2 was aliens have taken over, have created this thing called the Advent, which is like sort of a legitimized company for the aliens on Earth, and they're slowly taking over um, secret like through subterfuge and stuff like that. You beat them at the end of XCOM 2, and so Chimera Squad takes place after XCOM 2, and basically after all the alien ships retreated, there was a bunch of straggler aliens, and they've sort of tried to integrate more into human society. There's an experimental city called City 31 that is part human, part alien, and the eponymous Chimera Squad are essentially the SWAT team of the City 31 Police Department, made up of both humans and aliens and hybrids, and deal with all the problems from the sort of resistant factions of aliens and humans who don't want to get along and are
I
jerks.
I'm sort of like I'm trying to piece together what this game is about. I mean, you're doing a good job of explaining it, but it's so far removed from what I've heard from my friend playing, where like we'll just be in a Discord call, and all of a sudden I'll hear, "No, go away from me! I'm not gonna be able to give you food. I'm a robot. I can't give you food." Or like something random
What?
about being a robot. I don't know. Something about being a robot and healing. Listen,
There is a robot. I don't think it gives you food. I think it
I
just
don't know
kind
if
of
it's food either.
gives
I
you
think
like the Pokemon potions where it just like spray. But
it's food.
yeah. So gameplay wise, it I so classic XCOM, or rather XCOM, the modern XCOM games. God, this is confusing, but modern XCOM is all about randomly generated soldiers who naturally develop into specific classes, whereas in Chimera Squad you have 11 specific party members who all have unique abilities and but generally fit into like one of 4 or 5 classes.
Hmm.
And it's really fun because they're so like, I mean, when I say every party member has a different ability, like every party member fits into things differently.
Not like Octopath, where it's like everyone has a different ability, but there's
Four
like really
abilities.
four abilities, and everyone
Yeah.
has a good and bad version. Yeah.
Exactly. Um, so in Chimera Squad, I'll just give you a rundown of like a couple of the characters I really like. So there's Cherub, who is sort of the um, I don't know, I guess like maybe the knight class, if we were gonna go like traditional RPG route.
Yeah.
He uses pistols, which aren't very powerful, but he has this ability called Kinetic Shield, which protects any party member from any type of damage once. And once the shield breaks, he gets a charge that powers up his melee attack. Um, there's Torque, who uh, basically has the ability to disrupt the turn order by so like the general way you play as her is she has like a stretchy tongue that she uses to like bring enemies close.
I'm uncomfortable.
She's a snake lady, Kevin. So
Well, now I'm doubly uncomfortable. Nobody told me there'd be these weird, like, uh, amalgamous monsters in a game called Chimera Squad. What?
and she can bind enemies, and like they can't move at all once their
So,
turn comes up.
so is it like playing Chameleon Twist?
It's like playing Chameleon Twist if Chameleon Twist was a tactical shooter. Um, there's oh, and the other character I really like is Blue Blood, who is a human, and he also uses a pistol. But what sort of makes him special is that um, so normally the way it works is like shooting automatically ends your turn. But with Blue Blood, it doesn't. And you can set up these like insane chains that essentially like allow Blue Blood to fire his weapon 4 times. I mean, um, it's really fun. And all that like maybe sounds overpowered, but I think the game on normal mode at least does a really good job of like keeping things at like a fair difficulty. There are 1 or 2 missions that I just think like could have been reworked on normal mode. Um, but in general, I would say the difficulty is pretty fair, and it's a pretty meaty challenge. Um, I think you really do need to think about your squad composition, like how many more damage oriented characters you want, how many more support oriented characters you want. You really do need to spend a good amount of time thinking about your game plan. And all the other XCOM things are here. The lab to build stuff, training.
Wait, the Chimera Lab, like from Mother 3?
Exactly.
Finally, Mother 3 confirmed. Yes. Ah,
Man,
finally.
who know when they finally brought over Mother 3, it would be a tactical shooter.
Well, they had to make it more suitable for American audiences.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's all a really big. It's just fun gameplay wise. I think the only part where this game sort of falters is the story. The modern XCOM games have never exactly been like great stories. It just because all the characters are randomly generated, you don't really get attached. But in this game, there are specific characters with specific personalities. All these things they are not randomly generated, but they don't really do a lot with that. I mean, you can randomly get post mission conversations where your characters will be like, you got this one guy, Verge, who is a former member of the occupying alien force, but has had human sympathies towards the end of the war. There's this one conversation he has with Terminal, who's like the white mage of the group, and she's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, like I trust you, but like, I mean, like, what was it like being on the alien side?" And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. And you think like, oh, like maybe he still has alien sympathies. But then you read his biography and you figure out that he's actually been like very seriously harmed by the alien faction. And it's really deep. Except
Yeah.
that's all random. So a lot of players may not even get that conversation. And
Oh
then a lot of the
wow.
other conversations are really dumb, like Cherub, or I mean, not dumb, but just kind of don't have the same great characterization, like
Yeah.
Cherub
That
wanting to test his shield by asking Blue Blood to shoot at him. um,
that makes me think of like Metopia for some reason. Like just like the absurdity of Metopia, how um some of like the random like me conversations that you can have after battles are just like because did you ever play that game?
no, I mean I've
Oh,
seen bits and pieces, but
oh my god, honestly a great game, won't lie. um
I always confused Metopia with Tomodachi Life.
oh yeah, I could see that. I mean, the me centric games, but
Hmm.
no, Metopia is honestly like it's it's it, it's fun in the same way Tomodachi Life is fun, because like you don't really have complete control over everything, but at the same time, like you're also kind of playing it just to see what wacky thing happens next. And it's like, uh, oh man, I don't want to make this about Metopia, but there's just like a procedural pool, I guess, of responses that your Mii's can say to each other that are in this like RPG party system. And there's like a mechanic where if they have good chemistry, like if you put them in the same, like if they're roommates at the inns, they develop chemistry and they work together better in battle. And it's really funny because sometimes you'll see them in the room together when like a bonding moment is happening, and they're just and like it's something really stupid where it's like, wait a minute, you want to do a bunch of push-ups so we can become beefcakes? We'll be so cool. And then like they just like both like set themselves on fire and do a bunch of push-ups, and then you see like another me outside the window getting really sad because they want to bond with one of the Mii's in that room. And it's just the sort of same like concept where it's random, and like it can make you either laugh or like just be like, oh, why did that happen? Or like, like why did this me game just suddenly hit me with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely like that. I guess the only other thing I have to add about Chimera Squad real quick is it's a lot lighter in tone compared to XCOM 1 and 2, which is like the aliens are here, kidnapping people, probing people. We're all fucked if we don't deal with this situation. And Chimera Squad is a lot more like I remember Yahtzee said in his review that it was like a Saturday morning cartoon. And well, I think it's like slightly darker than a Saturday morning cartoon. it's more of an Adventure Time than like a '90s X-Men, say.
Yeah, okay, I see
Um,
that.
and but yeah, I mean, so I actually highly recommend Chimera Squad to people who um, have always been interested in the XCOM games, but are maybe fans of more traditional RPG experiences or more, having like defined characters. If you're a Mass Effect fan who wants to get into XCOM, this is definitely the game for you.
Okay, well,
Um,
let me put it this way. The last RPG that I played and enjoyed was Mario Tennis on the Game Boy Color. Would you How compatible do you think I am?
um, well, Uh,
All right, I'll give it a shot.
let me think about this. Hold on. Mario Tennis, you knock the balls back and forth,
Yep.
and I'm
Yep.
I'm pretty sure in one of the XCOM games there is an ability to reflect gunfire. Don't quote me on that, but maybe there you go.
Maybe the
That
net that divides the players is a metaphor for
for racism in City 31. We did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Uh, and maybe the fault was I don't know. I'm thinking of
Maybe
tennis
the
lingo.
fault was the fault of man not
Yeah,
to
and
cooperate with aliens,
and the double fault was
and the double fault was the aliens because they're really bad at aiming
and we just
tennis shots.
we just need to 15 love our opponents to conquer our differences. Anyway, uh, yep.
Tennis humor, hell
Yeah,
yeah!
yeah. Mario tennis humor. Anyway, um, woo, wow, what a wonderful day of gaming and talking about gaming
Yeah,
and thinking about gaming and breathing gaming, and now it's time to go onto social media and talk about gaming on the Great Wide Web. I'm going to use my Twitter handle at Hey It's Kevo to do so. How about you at Thomas Brickman?
well, I'm going to
Thomas
use
M. Brickman, god damn it.
my exactly. I'm going to use at Thomas M. Brickman on Twitter to do that. But Kev, I I have something to admit. I mean, I know you already know, but I have to admit to our viewers, I don't just talk about games all the time.
What?
I actually
What?
talk about anime sometimes
I
too, specifically JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I do a podcast on that with my friend Emily, which you can find on YouTube at I Want to Fight Araki, on Twitter at I Want to Fight AR1, and on Instagram, I Want to Fight Araki. I know it brings deep shame to my family as
Yeah,
well,
well,
but yeah,
if it makes you feel any better, I don't always talk about video games either. Sometimes I talk about the 41st Doge of Venice, Enrico Dandolo. Uh, um,
um, but if you just want just video games and just news about this show, you can follow the Twitter account at PostgameCon. That's at PostgameCon. Unfortunately, we don't have any historical facts about Doges.
yeah,
Kevin
but
decides he wants to run the account for a little while, but
uh,
with all
no,
that said, we'll see you guys next time.
see ya.